Smino just released his newest album, Love for Rent, and while I feel like this is a very solid album with some of the strengths being Smino's strengths he's had on other albums, there are still some concerns I feel like, have been the same as other albums. Some of these songs are just a little overindulgent, maybe, they just go on a little bit too long. And then there are just some tracks where you just can't really hear his bars. He's just going too fast and he's going with too deep of a voice, and just overall the tracks just don't sound that good with his vocals. But when he does have, hitting the falsetto, just doing other things, I feel like it does sound really good, and Smino really should play in more to those strengths, because I feel like there's only a couple tracks on here that sounded more similar to Wild Irish Roses, Amphetamine, and those type of tracks where I feel like those are really his strength tracks. But I thought there were some other good ones that were kind of his own rapping way. But either way, this definitely is a pretty solid album in my opinion. It's just nothing special from an artist, which I think is a really talented artist. All right, let's just go, track by track and do a little track by track listing. First off is From the Source. I like the vocals. It sounds kind of similar to like the Frank Ocean vocals on Blonde, where he super pitches up the vocals, and they do sound pretty good. And I like the production with the guitar, but this From the Source little sample here does come up on the album in another song at least, so definitely stick around for that one. Then Noel's, I like the production and the sample from Missy Elliott. I like this flow that Smino brings on the song, and the beat switch works, but I feel like Smino's voice has a little bit too much slurring, where it's like I can't hear his voice. He's going too fast, it's too deep, and it's hard to actually hear the lyrics, which, in my opinion, is a little weird and just doesn't sound good on this song. Then we go to 90 Proof. I like the production. I don't really like the falsetto that Smino uses on his voice in the verse. It's just a little bit too high for my liking, but I do like J. Cole's feature, and I'm not the biggest J. Cole fan. I feel like he did really go in on this one. I felt like his delivery, everything really worked on this one, and the beat definitely complements J. Cole's vocals and flow on this one. Then we go to Pro Freak. I do like the chorus on this one, and Smino's first verse works really well with the beat, which moves at a super fast pace. Doichi, I think that's how you say her name. She puts in a really solid verse, and I think her flow is crazy on this song, and it works. Then we got the beat switch. That also works. I like the second verse of Smino's in the song, and I feel like his delivery really sounds good on that part. Then we go to Ol' Ass Kendrick. I like the delivery and Smino's vocals on the song, but I don't really like the chorus. I feel like it's, kind of just boring. And the song is pretty short, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a song that really to me feels forgettable on this one. Then we got Euphoria. I like the sped or like speeding up beat. It starts speeding up as the time goes on, and then Cruz's vocals work really well on this song. Smino's verse works well with the beat and complements Cruz's very beautiful vocals. And I feel like the outro also works, and it goes perfectly into the next song, which is Blue Billy. I really like the beat, and I feel like Smino's vocals and flow work really well on this. The chorus also is pretty catchy. Then we go to Matinee. This is one of the singles along with 90 Proof, and I like the chorus on this one and Smino's vocals because he hits the high notes without taking away from the rest of the song. The outro is a little weird, but it still works with the rest of the production on the song, and I think it's fine actually. Then we got Mod in a Minute, I think it's called. I like the vocals on the chorus of this, and then the production really complements his voice on it. Lucky Day's voice and flow really works on the song and sounds pretty similar to Smino's style, even though Lucky Day is low-key a really similar sounding Giveon, so he got that on the album without actually paying for Giveon. Then we got Defibrillator. The beat is solid, and I like Smino's verse because the flow and the delivery sound really good. The chorus is also solid on this song. It's just a little bit repetitive when it goes on and on and on, but it's not a bad song. I definitely do like this one. And then we go to Garden Lady. I like the production, and Smino's vocals sound pretty good, especially with the layering, which I am kind of a sucker for. And then I think the outro on this one is also pretty cool. With I think it's his grandma on this one, or it's like he says he's talking to his grandma. She needs like a dance song or whatever. It was pretty cool. Then we got Settled Down. I like the beat and the upbeat vibe of all the verses on the album, but I feel like Smino's verses are the low part of the song. I think it was Raven Lene and someone else was the other one, and they all sounded good except for Smino. I just think he was going too fast, and it just didn't really work when these other people are kind of these like R&B artists, and he's not really like that. Then we go to Pudgy. I don't really like Smino's flow on this song, and his lyrics are kind of hard to hear, but I do like this Uzi verse. I feel like it'd be kind of interesting if Uzi went a little bit more for like an R&B style. I don't really know what Uzi's doing right now, but I think the Uzi verse did work on this album, and I think the verses of a lot of these guest artists did work well, and I feel like Smino kind of held a lot of these people back, which is kind of disappointing because I feel like Smino is a great artist. There's so much potential there. He just hasn't been able to mix the R&B and the rap together to create, a really succinct project like I think he could. Then we go to Curtains. I really like the production and Smino's vocals on the chorus on this one, and Smino's delivery on the verse really works. I think the production is, kind of nice and simple, but it lets the vocals do their thing over the beat, but the song drags on way too long. It's like a 6 or 7 minute song, which to me doesn't really work, even though some of Smino's best songs are like 6 or 7 minutes. I'm pretty sure Amphetamine is a 7 minute and 50-second song, and it's one of, I think, in my opinion, Smino's best. But I just think this one doesn't really work. There's not really much going on, and it's a repetitive chorus that goes on for a lot, and I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Last but not least, we got Lee and Lovey. Oh, but on Curtains, they used the same song as the intro, and it has the same vocals as the intro track, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of like a little loop from the front to the back, and I just wish they maybe did that on the actual last song, so it kind of like they all flowed together like that, but, I get it. Then last but not least, Lee and Lovey. I feel like this is also a really good track. The last two, in my opinion, are some of the better like R&B style tracks that he did, and I like the chorus and the first verse on this song. The song gives really good vibes. The song just uses, it's like kind of more Smino's vocals, which I feel like is the R&B vibe. And then Reggie's verse also works and adds to the outro of the album, but I feel like it is weird that Reggie gets the last verse on Smino's album. But I mean, I get it. You gotta have artistic decisions that other people maybe not, or maybe won't like, or maybe won't think about. But either way, I do like this Smino album. I just feel like he could have done a lot better, and especially with like the versatility that he has and the artistic vision, I feel like he could have done a lot better and just made a better album. But still, I do like this album. I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. But I'm hoping for Smino's next album, he leans more into that R&B side, and then he can just make a little bit better of an album. Maybe I just like the R&B side a little bit more from Smino, but I do think there were some really good guest features on this one, and Smino did put a good performance in and on a lot of these songs. It just wasn't that much for me.